We have another juicy show on tap for you today on Golden State Warriors Today by Chat Sports. But first, I want to hear from all of you watching in the comment section right now. I was looking at the YouTube analytics, and I'm able to see where everybody is tuned in from all across the globe, every pocket of America, but also all across the universe. So I want to see you represent where you're watching from and let me know where you're tuned in from. Let me know in the comment section, and let's talk some Dubs basketball right now. What's good, and welcome into Golden State Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of you are having a phenomenal week. The Golden State Warriors are, because in this second round series against the Memphis Grizzlies, they're up 3-1 with an opportunity to close it out in Memphis without Ja Morant with the Memphis Grizzlies. Coming up on today's show, we'll get to a Game 5 preview as I think Golden State is going to close this series out, make it back to the Western Conference Finals once again. But we start off with James Wiseman. The second-year big man has certainly been sorely missed in this front court for the Warriors this year. Not going to return for the playoffs. We know that already, but there is a positive James Wiseman injury update that we have to hit on. We're not going to see him in the playoffs, as I talked about, but could we see him in Las Vegas playing in the NBA Summer League, which I think is really important for his development within this franchise. This coming from Kerr Burke, does a great job of covering the NBA and the Golden State Warriors. She said this on Twitter: James Wiseman spoke at shoot-around, which was a big deal because he hasn't spoken in a while since suffering that setback coming off that knee injury. And James Wiseman said this, quote, "I'm never going to give up, no matter how hard it feels." He talked a lot with Sean Livingston about persevering through injuries. Playing in the Summer League is in the plans for James Wiseman if everything progresses well. And for me, I'd love to see Wiseman play in the NBA Summer League. I think it would do wonders for his development. We're still talking about a very young player who is very green, hasn't had a lot of experience at the NBA level. During his rookie year, only played about 40 games and did not appear at all in his sophomore season. And we knew when he was drafted number 2 out of Memphis after barely playing at all with the Memphis Tigers that he was a raw basketball player. But really, his potential was limitless. I think we're going to be able to see that if he, 1, can stay healthy, and 2, can work out some of the areas of his game that certainly need some fine-tuning and development. Wiseman on his injury recovery, because this has been somewhat problematic. You go back to his rookie year, he was injured, went under the knife to get that torn meniscus in his right knee repaired in April. And then from that point, it was setback after setback after setback. Then he played in the G League with the Santa Cruz Warriors. You're thinking he's going to be able to return to the Warriors roster for that stretch run. And what do you know? Another setback. So he did say this about his injury recovery, quote, "I want to obviously be out there playing with my teammates, but just keeping an even-keeled head, just making sure I reassure myself that I'm young. I'm 21 years old. I've got a long career ahead of myself. It's really just taking it one day at a time and keep working." And Wiseman, if you get in the lab, you can be a monster, my man, and really impress all of Dub Nation. Before we continue to talk about James Wiseman, the player that he can become, and what this really means for the Warriors franchise moving forward, I once again want to hear from you in the comment section. All of you who do comment, you're real ones. Will James Wiseman ever live up to being that number 2 pick? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get hit with that ad break, use it to your advantage. Scroll on down and get your votes in. By the time you do that, we'll be back chopping it up. Now, these were my takeaways when Wiseman was playing at the G League level during his rehabilitation process. Unfortunately, that rehab process only lasted 3 games, but I thought he looked great physically. He was very active offensively and defensively on both ends of the floor, finding a way to impact games in a variety of ways. I thought he looked athletic and bouncy. He ran the floor well. He looked bigger than he did during his rookie year, which I think is important for him if he were to go up against bulkier centers in the NBA like a DeAndre Ayton or a Joel Embiid, and he wasn't afraid to shoot from the elbow, from the baseline, and from the three-point arc. And if he can really round out into being that all-around offensive threat and give you an edge defensively, James Wiseman can be a very good player and live up to the aforementioned expectations of being that number 2 pick during the draft a couple of years ago when the Warriors took him over selecting LaMelo Ball. As for what he did in his rookie year, this is a glimpse into what he can possibly bring to the table on a veteran-laden team while still playing with players in their primes and Steph Curry, Klay Thompson as he continues to come back off the ACL and Achilles injuries, and we know that Draymond Green is going to be an impactful player and the ultimate leader of this squad. 11.5 points per game in 39 games as a rook, less than 6 boards, nearly a block per night, and connected on about 52% of his shots. As for his G League stats, of course, the G League numbers are always going to be inflated because the competition level is nowhere close to what it is at the NBA level. I like the fact that he played nearly 21 minutes per game during those 3 games during the rehab process. He looked good offensively as I broke down, 17 points per game, nearly a double-double, notching about 10 rebounds per and almost 2 blocks per game as well. So if James Wiseman can have anything close to this impact, my goodness, what a lift it would give this Warriors team, especially considering this team right now has an open opportunity to compete for NBA championships for a couple of years to come. We're only getting started here on Golden State Warriors today by Chat Sports. Appreciate all of you for kicking it here with me. Producer Jeremy Chugg's doing a great job as well. Right around the corner, are the Warriors going to finish off the Memphis Grizzlies in Game 5? Have a little bit of a preview on the other side. But first, if you're subscribed to the Best Warriors channel right here on YouTube as well as on Rumble, type me in the comment section. Once again, I'm going to show you some love down below. Appreciate all of your support, rocking and rolling with us and making today's show a part of your day. And if you haven't subscribed, do so right now by simply hitting that red subscribe button down below, or in a separate browser, go to youtube.com/WarriorsTV and let this video roll. Now, the NBA playoffs up to this point have been fascinating, and I've bet on a lot of games throughout the NBA playoffs lately because, man, these matchups have been really, really intriguing in the Western Conference as well as the Eastern Conference. And if you want to bet on the NBA playoffs, just do so and make the smart decision with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. You see that link at the bottom of your screen? It reads chatsports.com/bet, and then the promo code right here, chat125. If you plug in that link in that promo code, you get a 125% deposit bonus so you can make money like me and producer Jeremy by betting on the NBA playoffs. NBA title odds right now, what do you know? Your Golden State Warriors atop the list at plus 165, followed by the Phoenix Suns, Boston Celtics, Miami Heat, and the Milwaukee Bucks. Lay down your cheddar. Be bold about it. Don't be scared, because here at Chat Sports, we never have fear. And just plug in that link in that promo code. It's chatsports.com/bet, promo code chat125. Game 5 of this playoff series shifts back to Memphis at FedEx Forum, where you know that the atmosphere is going to be very, very lit. Now, the Grizzlies are going to be without Ja Morant. The thing is with Memphis, hasn't really impacted them this year because Ja Morant has missed a lot of games, and the Memphis Grizzlies are like 21-6 without Ja Morant in the lineup. The over-under for this game set at 213, and the Warriors are favorites, and I think the Warriors are going to polish off Memphis. I think they're going to win this playoff series, and I think they're going to advance to the Western Conference Finals to await the winner of the Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns. Some Game 5 storylines and notes that kind of just entered my brain as I was putting together this show. The Heaters, they're always just kind of simmering in my brain. Win and move on. That really should be the focus for the Warriors. You win and you advance. I don't care if it's ugly. I don't care if Steph, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green are cold. Just find a way to win and move on. Don't allow this playoff series to pivot back to San Francisco to the Chase Center. The Warriors are once again going to be without their head coach in Steve Kerr. So Mike Brown, who just got the head coaching job with the Sacramento Kings, is once again going to be leading the charge on the bench for the Golden State Warriors. Ja Morant out for the rest of the playoffs, so even if you lose this game, you don't have to worry about Morant coming back out with a bone bruise in his knee. The Dubs the last 2 games in Game 3 as well as Game 4, thought they did a really good job of just finding a way to close out some of these games. And this is the championship identity that the Warriors have really displayed over time with this current crew and with this current bunch. They could look like crap all the way up until the final minutes of the fourth quarter, but they find a way with that championship identity to find a way to close out these games. They look like the championship team that has a bunch of playoff experience, whereas the Memphis Grizzlies look like the young and inexperienced upstart team that has been on display throughout this playoff series. And we've also seen the Warriors play classic clutch basketball. It's a different person every night. It's Jordan Poole going off one night or going off on a crazy spurt. Then it's Steph Curry the next, like he closed out the game in the fourth quarter at the free throw line and just making things happen, shaking and baking on the floor at the Chase Center, causing fans in San Francisco to go nuts. And then it's Draymond Green just making big plays like he did defensively on that block to close out game 4 on Jaren Jackson, which was just an awful shot selection, by the way. So these are the storylines going into Game 5. Those are the keys to the game. I do think that the Warriors close this playoff series out, which allows them to get a little bit of rest going into the Western Conference playoff series. Before we wrap up today's show, I want to hear from you once more. Will the Warriors advance tonight? A for advance, G6 for there will be a Game 6. Predict tonight's game for me, and thank you so much for watching today's show.